Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Malia. I'm your building inspector for the town of Ramapo. First, I want to thank you all for coming here on pretty short notice. We're all busy, and I appreciate that you can get here. I'd like to thank the supervisor in town of Ramapo for letting us have this presentation here today. Also, Nadler Modular for sponsoring this with construction expediting right here from Muncie. Again, I'm Tony Malia, building inspector, town of Ramapo. Most of you, I think in the room, most of you know me. If you don't know me, I don't know where you've been, because I'm everywhere here, and you should know me. And you'll get to know me if you don't know me. It's always been my position and my entire department, including my fire inspectors, that building and fire safety is number one. More than anything else, fire safety and building safety. And those standards, we're going to try to explain some of those standards where it comes to modular construction today. Over the last week or so, we've done it. My staff and I have done a field trip over to Airmont to see the new modular building that Nadler's building over there, and we were pretty impressed on what they have. Now, you know, most of you know that we have some modulars in our town. We need 100% New York State compliance on these modulars. We cannot accept anything less than that. It's just not allowed, nor will we allow it. These guys here are here to present what their product is and give you a general rundown on what's actually required for these buildings. The town recently has taken a position that during your construction, once you've had an approval for a site to build a school, that you can use modular classrooms on a temporary basis for a 1 year with renewable for a second year of construction. Now, you've actually seen a couple of sites where that's taken place in the last year or so, and we're becoming more enforcement of those units so that they can actually be safe. So that's why we're here today. And you're going to hear from a couple of different people, and I'll introduce the president of Nadler Modular a little bit later on. But first of all, I'd like to introduce Arnie Warmbrand from the UPC, with the Universal Pre-K for East Ramapo. He's a coordinator for the Universal Pre-K for East Ramapo.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, I know most of you, or some of you, from running the Universal Pre-Kindergarten for East Ramapo. When I first took the position, I first reached out to Tom Buckley, the fire inspector here in the town of Ramapo, to make sure that all of the schools that operate the program for the 4-year-olds follow the codes and are very strictly following the codes so that New York State can approve the UPK program. It's the first time I've met Tony Malia, although we must have emailed and been on the phone back and forth so many times, and I want to thank Tony for all his cooperation and help that we've had for the program to run safely and securely. As you know, because you're all family people, the little kids' health and safety is extremely important, and therefore the codes need to be followed. The New York State regulations for the Universal Pre-Kindergarten program insists that the codes be followed. We need in our office to hold back payments for any school that is in violation or has had their fire safety expired, and if there's any issue with anything, we cannot pay you. So therefore, I felt this meeting was very important. I sent out an email to all of the schools that we are connected with. So if you have problems getting the proper school setting for your kids, this might be a very valuable session for you. Okay, so again, thanks to Tony and to Adam and to Tom Buckley and for the town of Ramapo for caring as much as they do that the schools operate according to code and that the safety considerations are all taken into account. And thank you all for coming, because I know it will be of value to everybody. Okay, I appreciate it.
It's me again. Arnie, thank you very much. By the way, Arnie is instrumental in everyday safety and educational well-being for our children. We speak frequently on the phone, and he has a very good relationship with my Chief Fire Inspector, Tom Buckley. So together we work very well in ensuring safety for our kids and that they get the proper funding that they need for their UPK. Next. It's my pleasure to introduce the president of Nadler Modular, Jeff Neiman. Mr. Neiman he's made it very easy for us to access his units that he has out there. He accompanied us through the walkthrough that we had in Airmont of the building, and how amazing it is to watch, to be part of it, even though it's a neighboring municipality, to be part of a large modular construction like this. We don't get to see this often. So he made it very easy with he and his the representatives who came out with us that day, answered lots of questions for us, and they were again by phone or available anytime to speak with. I don't know Jeff very long, but again he's been very nice to us, and I believe he'd be very nice to all of you when you have questions for him also. With that, Jeff Neiman.
Thank you, Tony. Thank all of you for coming today in the middle of the workday. My name, as Tony mentioned, is Jeff Neiman. I am the president of Nadler Modular. I'm just going to speak now for about 3 minutes. I want to first begin by thanking our town supervisor, Christopher St. Lawrence, for putting together and hosting this seminar today, this educational seminar, and a special thank you to Tony Malia, our Director of Building, Planning, and Zoning, for literally spearheading this event. This was not spearheaded by us, this is spearheaded by Tony. And I have to tell you, in the little bit of time that I've gotten to know him, I was just mentioning to Mrs. Wenger that Tony literally has a passion to help people. He has a passion to help all the institutions in Muncie and in Ramapo and beyond, and in particular for today, really to protect the safety of his children. He's told Alan Proctor, one of our dear members, numerous times over the past 2 weeks, my #1 position, goal, and requirement is to protect the children in this town, and that's why he put this together, and we want to thank him for that. I also want to thank the Nadler team. I don't want to mention names and leave anybody out, for everybody to here, also the construction expediters, and Tom and Adam also, and for literally the whole team for coming together. In addition, I do want to point out something that we sometimes take for granted. The town of Ramapo, time and again, is looking and has been taking a leadership position in many areas within needs for the community. I needed to speak to the chief of police a little while ago. I walked right in. This is a town that sets by example, and this is an example of what they want to do. They're looking to protect the children and then have other towns come to them. There's a reason why we've been rated the safest town in the country. What is our purpose for today? Our purpose for today is to educate and provide all of you here today a fast and affordable and legal solution to your space needs. You're going to be seeing a video soon and descriptions of what we can do in modular, both permanent and temporary applications. I'll tell you the schedule right now. After I speak, I'm going to be calling on Bill Ryan. Bill Ryan is a 40-year, although you can't tell when you see him, 40-year veteran of the modular industry. He's run companies, been the president of a factory in executive positions, and he's going to be explaining to us a couple of the particulars with regard to code issues and beyond. We're going to be having then a video presentation, a very short video presentation, a couple of minutes showing you some of the products that have been built. We'll be having a question and answer period with our panel. Again, to my left, we have our representatives from Markline who came 2.5, 3 hours away to be here for us to answer any technical questions, and also our VP of Sales, Stephen Muller, on my left, literally a top panel. Just a minute about Nadler, and then I'm going to pass the mic on to Bill. We've been around 35 years. We build for the top institutions in the world, from the construction and Turner and Skanska. We have a federal...
Are there different procedures for temporary modular and permanent modular regarding the local time code?
To answer that, the biggest difference is the foundation. The building itself still has to comply with all New York State Department of State's seal and regulations. The biggest difference between temporary and permanent is there's been a recent law about 4 months ago passed in the town of Ramapo that says once you go to a CDRC meeting, show them on the site plan basically where you want to put a temporary modular building, and this is where we're going to build our permanent modular building. You can basically get a permit basically within very, very short amount of time. However, a permanent modular building is something that can take, going through the town process, can take about 6 months to get. The foundation is the big thing, the site work, and the different things like that, and also what the building is. You can tell what type of building you're going to build to see the style of it.
And if you want that process to go quicker, we have construction expediters here in the room. They are the ones that can expedite that for you.
Yeah, one question for you. Just,
Sure.
I understand the difference between permanent and temporary modular. Just with the permanent ones, forgetting about the temporaries now, are they built, when you said, and you guys talked about cost between stick-built, when you say stick-built, do you mean purely stick-built? Are you talking about using stuff like trusses, open web trusses, LVLs, that kind of thing?
Well, it could be a combination of both. When we're talking about stick-built, we're talking about basically, if you do an open frame roof or whatever it is, but we're basically talking about bringing all the materials on site and constructing it piece by piece, brick by brick, etc., as opposed to basically a completed building. The building we keep referring to here in Earmont was basically put up in 3 weeks.
Right.
So that's really how we're differentiating the two.
That's permanent. The question is, being that it's permanent built, is it still built with the same dimensional lumber or truss or LVLs that other structures are, or no?
Do you want to answer that? It's more of manufacturing. But basically, the basic answer is yes. We build it with the exact same materials as a site built. The biggest, and everything is custom. We go through a set of shop drawings where you see every light switch, every outlet, etc. Every single part of the building is built custom with the same materials as a stick built. We just build it in a environment which allows us cost savings.
All right, thanks.
Hi, Jeff. I don't know if you want to just touch on one of the concerns when schools are building, and I thank Jeff for letting me be here. I'm actually from Chase Bank, and I'm not saying that you should bank with Chase and come to Chase for financing, but maybe you just want to touch on, since these projects do cost, a few dollars, maybe you just want to touch on maybe how they can get some financing for the projects.
Okay. Marilyn, it's a great question, and my bad for not mentioning it before. The buildings that we're talking about, both permanent and temporary applications, can be financed. A good chunk of our business also is leasing. That's more for the temporary. When you're dealing with a more permanent, higher-end custom building, that's going to be more purchase. But we do work with the likes of Chase Bank and other financial institutions that we work very closely with that have been, right now, we're working on a couple of projects that have been able to finance institutions. It is much easier, I will tell you, for an existing school where there is cash flow, where there is tuition, even if you think it's below what it should be, and all of ours are below what it should be, if there is a cash flow, then the financial institution can take a look at the cash flow. What we're finding very often, the key, or one of the key points, is when a banker comes in or a financial individual comes in, their first question is, how much are you paying in rent? And many of the institutions are coming or finding, and they're paying thousands and thousands of dollars in rent, again, similar to what we might have had at home. Then we take that number. It's incumbent upon the particular institution to prepare their financials. It sounds scarier than it is, but it's very much done. And if you're already spending X amount of thousands of dollars, assuming you're in that position, instead of paying rent and it going out the window, we can finance it. And it's really been delivering and significant, great fruits. It's something that we're very proud of, in that we're coming in with a full service solution. It's the building, it's the financing, and although we kid around about it, but it happens to be true, when we take on a client, we will help them hand in hand. Many of the people on the staff, including myself, very much so, we will come in with a group and help you raise the money. We had one of our clients, we helped them raise $57,000 in one night. So it's something we think out of the box, and I thank you, Marilyn, for asking that question.
as open space?
Yeah, we can, but we do it in what's called a multi-wide. So in other words, if let's say a person wants 60 feet wide, it would come in a few sections just to get it on the road. But once it's there and we put it together, you can tell the difference, that how many sections it came in. So the basic answer to that is, as big of a property you had is as big as we can do it. Depends on the foundation, but I would say at least 3 stories. Did we have a list of questions?
Jeff has already touched on the cost of the buildings, which typically are 20% less than traditional construction in this area, and that's a question that's normally answered with these types of meetings. Another question or another aspect of that answer is that not only is it less expensive, but you're getting the building done a lot quicker, which means that your construction financing costs are a lot lower. Plus, many of the schools have activities year-round, and getting a building done quicker means less disruption on your site and less disruption for additional activities. Another question that's often answered is, if you put a modular building on a site